several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Silvina Lanusse, artist and collage storyteller. Please enjoy Silvina Lanusse. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today I'm chatting with Silvina Lanusse, artist and collage storyteller. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for having me here. I love it. I
am so excited to chat with you about creativity and to hear more about the work you do. But before we get started, why don't you let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Okay. As you said, well said description, it's artist and collage storyteller. I live on Vancouver Island, Canada. I'm originally from Argentina, and I create pieces that people can see from torn and messes. So basically putting together things, life into one piece, one whole thing.
Wow. Where did this begin? Where was this, like, the birth of collage artist and storyteller emerge?
Well, this is a good question. I've been an artist for that was my career, but collage and putting pieces together, that developed probably over a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it kind of developed because of a transition I was going through in life, and the way that I was learning art on the other hand, and then it's sort of put together into this, like, oh, wait a minute, I am putting things together into one, and my life is sort of all over the map, and yet it's kind of like I feel moment of when I finish and put it all together. So I related that and immediately found a connection and wanted to carry on doing that. And it's absolutely messy, and that's how life is.
I so appreciate that acknowledgement of the messiness that is part of life and the process. And yeah, when you think about creativity, what does it mean to you to be creative?
To be creative to me is being aware of my surroundings in a way that I stop thinking about worries, about everyday chores, about anything that's in my mind. And it happens sort of naturally when I go for walks, or when I'm listening to music, or when I pause and stop and really, I become aware of the sound, of the way the light hits the cup, or, of how my feet make noise when I walk on the leaves, or things like that. So creativity stems from that for me, in the sense that it doesn't have to become a piece of art. It can be becoming aware of where I am and becoming curious. Oh, what is that sound? Oh, how does the wind make me feel when it, touches my skin? Or when I'm swimming and, the water goes by my eyes like this in my face, and I see the water, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm not counting how many laps I'm doing. I'm looking at the water. So that's a little spark of creativity, and it can be coming, switching something in your recipe that you always make for dinner, or it can be rearranging a room. It can be, the way you do the grocery store, instead of going vegetables first, start with the junk food. It's like, so That's creativity.
I love it. Absolutely. I totally agree. It is creativity. The pieces when you change the little pieces and experience something in a new way. But I can really appreciate that being aware and just paying attention to what is in the present moment. I'm curious, is there your experience of mindfulness, it sounds like you practice a lot of it in your own creativity. And how do those two marry together for you?
I am very aware. Um, I'm a very sensitive person in the sense of how my body
Mm.
feels
Mhm.
in the elements, or
Mhm.
how I feel in when I touch the paper I torn, or like I'm very tactile. I need to go to a gallery and touch the paintings and do all these things.
Mhm.
Um, so sorry, then I lost track of what the question was. Can you repeat the question?
Of course, it was more around this marriage of mindfulness
Oh,
and
yes,
your art and how they go together and
that's right. So it all comes together in the sense that because I experience these things when I'm walking, for example,
Mhm.
then I come back to my studio and disconnect from. It's
Mm.
kind of like a disconnect from from like the turmoil that's in my head.
Sure.
I turn that off, and then, but it comes natural. I think when I was at a very young age, I wasn't conscious about it. But looking
Hmm.
back now that we know so much about all those subjects about mindfulness and being grounded and all these things,
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess art did take me away from whatever was going on in my family or that, and
Hmm.
instead put me in the present moment, concentrating on, painting
Hmm.
this little thing. And being creative and being an artist does bring you into that mindfulness, I think, automatically
Hmm.
without me knowing. I mean, now I know because we have a definition for that, and
Sure.
it's more, people know about it, but I wouldn't have known that before. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, that's what I do, right?
Right. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you're speaking to kind of early artistic or creative experiences, but what's your earliest memory of being creative?
When I was little, like elementary, 10 years maybe, my
Hmm.
mom and my dad, I lived in Argentina, so I'm
Hmm.
originally from Argentina. My mom and my dad went to the States and they bought me the paint by numbers
Oh.
posters. So they bought me two smaller ones, like A4, and then a larger one, 11 by 16 or something. And I was, wow, I've never seen anything like that. It comes with a little, all the little colors. And what did I do? I did not paint by numbers. I painted my own, my own thing. And I really enjoyed. So I truly, deeply appreciate that moment in which I
Hmm.
said, no, I just want to do my own thing. And I was so happy, so happy. So that paint by numbers changed my life pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so curious, the do your own thing spark from childhood, how much of that still shows up in
All
your
the time.
current
All the
okay.
time. I am not the type of person you tell what to do. I have trouble. I have trouble, and everybody will tell you. It's like I maybe I'll follow direction, okay,
Oh,
but I struggle. Deep inside, it's like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's not the way I want to do things.
yeah. I
So
love
in the
it.
real world, I struggle. In my interior world, I just do. Yes, I play a lot, and I do a lot
Yeah.
of things that are not expected.
Mm, I love that. The freedom to follow impulse and passion and desire. And when you experience challenges in your life, in your art, how do you work with that, navigate it, move through it? What does that look like for you?
It would look like stepping away for the first. The first step would
Mm-hmm.
be, okay, let's step away, and also be
Mm.
gentle to myself, because
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, or many times, things don't work out the way I want them to work out.
Sure.
And, paint doesn't apply the way I want it to be. And,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Or a paper torn in the way oh no, look at this. But letting it happen,
Mm-hmm.
letting it go through I was like, okay, yeah, it didn't work out. Okay, let's go for a walk, or
Mm-hmm.
let's go grab a coffee, or and go to the kitchen, make myself a coffee, or
Mm-hmm.
so pulling away, making me feel that it's okay, that
Mm-hmm.
things happen and that will continue to happen, and not having a goal of perfection. And
Mm.
with the type of art that I make, that sort of came out really easily, because you're working with paper and I'm tearing with my
Mm-hmm.
hands. So the cut is not perfect.
Yeah.
And sometimes I cut in one direction, but the paper wants to go in a different direction. So, and then I glue it on the canvas, and then I work with paint on it. And all
Mm.
of that is unexpected. And you don't really know what's the end goal is going to be. I may have an idea, but the end goal
Mm-hmm.
comes together, just like
Yeah.
that. So challenges are just that, just letting it make its thing, and it's like, carry on. I don't know that I think I have that same philosophy for life, like,
Mm.
but not that I'm like this tranquil, I'm happy. It's like, oh yeah, we have whatever, financial, or groceries to make, or whatever. No, I'm not this
Yeah.
peaceful, but they do happen, things happen, and you just
Mm-hmm.
have to continue.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
I hear you trusting the process,
Hmm.
what that experience of the ripping of paper and the placement, and trusting that it comes together. And where do you believe that trusting the process comes from for you?
Mm. From, I think, because we're speaking art, it's because I'm confident that what I make makes me happy, and therefore
Mm.
it's good for me.
Ah.
Whether, then now we have another issue, which is, will it be okay for someone else? Well, that's a
Mm.
totally different
Hmm.
chapter. That's
Yeah.
another, but for me, so long as it makes me go, oh yeah, that looks good, then I'm content, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, yeah, I think becoming um, aware that all of these things that I do is a step in the right direction. It's
Yeah.
always making me
Mm.
whole,
Hmm.
and complete,
Yeah.
and feeling good about whatever, my
Uh-huh.
life, myself,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. For someone who's just starting their artist journey, what are the encouragement or pieces that you wish someone would have shared with you when you started yours?
Expectations. Do have goals, grandiose goals,
Hmm.
the goals are important, but don't have expectations that from day 0 to day 1 you're gonna
Mm.
be reaching that goal.
Hmm.
For me, especially in the last 5 years in which I've become full-time artist,
Hmm.
it's been a progress. It's been a step by step, sometimes one step forward and two steps back, and then
Hmm.
maybe a little bit more. But be kind, and don't put your expectations so high that then, because you can't reach them, then it's going to bring you, completely down and sad.
Hmm.
So have a goal, be mindful of your expectations,
Yeah.
and try and keep. And again, someone who wants to become an artist, you don't have to start with a blank canvas. You can start
Mm.
with rearranging your room, or going for a walk and start noticing those little tiny things. And
Mm.
just those little sparks of noticing
Mhm.
is what then brings you that energy to create
Mhm.
anything, really. Yeah.
Those are great reminders. I appreciate the management of expectations
Yes.
in creativity and art and the mediums that people work with. You know, having stepped into full-time artist, you said 5 years ago, where do you pull your inspiration from? Who or what is currently inspiring your work?
My work is inspired by feelings mostly, but
Mm.
my
Mm.
walks in the forest, in the ocean. I mean, I live very close to the ocean, and
Hmm.
I love feeling the air, the sand on my feet, the cold water,
Hmm.
the noise of the waves on the rocks. And
Yeah.
so all those things, again, I'm not necessarily going to paint the rocks, but it triggers that creative spark. It's
Mm.
like, okay, it's the little fire that will then become something.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
that's my inspiration. My feelings, once I'm in the process, my feelings start to come out. And
Mm.
then that's when a painting becomes a whole thing. So I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I'm thinking about my daughter who lives so far away and the ocean's connecting us. And then I
Mm.
paint an ocean, but the ocean is being painted, then the feeling is coming through. I don't know
Hmm.
if that makes any sense. I
It
don't know.
absolutely does. Yeah, I can absolutely understand and relate that allowing the emotions that are present to be a part of the experience and a part of the process. Where do you feel that you got the permission? I mean, a permission may not be the right word, but I know so many individuals struggle with tapping into their emotions or using their emotions or even feeling their emotions. So
Yeah.
where was that, process for you? Did you come from a family of emotional expressors, or is this something that over time you've really cultivated a relationship with your own emotions?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Hmm.
I come from a family, or not rather a family. My father was always very sensitive and emotional, and
Hmm.
he would write all of his
Mm.
feelings. He wouldn't say
Yeah.
much, but he would write. And I guess that's sort of like carried through the lineage. And I
Hmm.
also write, and I also paint and I also do all these things.
Hmm.
And part of it also was how I was, the youngest of seven, big family, lots of things happening at home and da da da. And then
Mm.
trying to find a little corner, a little, place where all that goes away. So
Mm.
I think from a very young age, I was very aware of how I needed to be, in my own little cocoon. I guess I
Hmm.
don't know that it was a good thing or a bad thing, but
Hmm.
from a young age, that's how I felt,
Mm.
and art helped me
Mm.
along through, a very young age and on moving forward. So it's a little bit of an heritage, but also a little bit of the culture or how I lived
Hmm. And
and
now, do you
experiences.
feel that there's a difference, a more free emotional expression with your art than maybe years ago? Like what was that journey and transition for you when you really started
Yeah.
utilizing emotion to fuel or to propel art?
The emotion came, it was always there, but I wasn't aware.
Hmm.
I became aware maybe a year or two ago,
Mm.
and that's when everything sort of clicked. Like everything
Mm-hmm.
would have been a puzzle almost done, or not really a puzzle, but like a tetra brick type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're almost there, but they're not quite. And so then when the emotions came out,
Yeah.
everything sort of like, oh, there's where they go click, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Before everything was, yes, it was in me. I was very emotional. I was going through things. I was painting, and
Mm-hmm.
painting was this and the other. But then one day the pieces got together and, oh, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm painting. Oh, and then everything went click. So it was
Mm-hmm.
more of a recent
Mm-hmm.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, but it sounds like very powerful to
very.
unlock so much, maybe a deeper creativity or a
Yeah.
more something that you connect to on a different level.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And in that regard, because it connects with me, thinking it connects with someone else. Someone else
Mm-hmm.
may see it as,
Yeah.
oh, something that may resonate with them, or um, you know, it would relate or
Mm-hmm.
uh, speak to them.
Mm. Absolutely. I love that. And not to dive into this, but I that feels to me the where the AI world is missing the mark with
Mm.
that that
That
emotion,
feeling.
that
Yeah.
feeling that yes, there might be something that's created that other people feel something when looking at it, but there was no feeling when it
Mhm.
was created, and that's a missing piece
Yes,
to
yes,
it.
yes,
So,
yes, absolutely. That's a little bit of a scary part of it, but that's why there's artists
yeah,
and creators
yes,
and
yeah,
singers and um,
absolutely.
actors and so on. It's to
Hmm.
bring that connection, that human, very
Hmm.
human
Yeah,
connection, to life.
yeah. Do you feel that you are more connected to the work that you do now than previously?
Yes, yes,
Mm.
yes. Yes, absolutely. I do. In the past, I've done series and collections that maybe had a theme
Hmm.
or meant something to me.
Hmm.
I used one of them that I can think of right now is a series I did on chimpanzees and children
Mm.
and how their facial expressions. I was fascinated by the
Mm.
fact that chimpanzees and children can have facial expressions that, they look the same and they
Yeah.
mean the same too. So I
Yeah.
did a series of portraits of children and
Mm.
chimpanzees. And so for me, it was more of a scientific
Hmm.
experiment or a realization or something that I'm researching, let's say.
Yeah.
But now it that there's no feeling in that. That's just
Mm.
a scientific thing, and I put it out there, and people are like, "Yes, you're right. Look at
Hmm.
that. He's doing this, and the monkey's doing the same thing." So it's more of a I present you this,
Yeah.
and this art that I'm doing now is more. This is life
Mm.
into pieces, put back
Hmm.
together, and this is how I feel, and this is midlife crisis, and this is,
Mm.
identity crisis, and this is, belonging and longing and distance, and so it
Yeah.
has a little something behind it.
I love, I even in just the description and hearing you describe it, I have a different physical experience of hearing you, the
Thank
emotion
you.
behind your words. It's a felt experience to,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, oh my goodness, thank you so much for
You're
sharing all of
welcome.
these pieces. I have one last question. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
It feels like a dance. Yes, that's just sums it all up. And
I love it.
literally dancing is, another way to be creative. So yes,
Yeah.
dance feels like a dance.
Oh, what a beautiful experience. And
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all these pieces with me and my listeners. If people
Thank
want
you.
to learn more about your art and the work you have out in the world, how could they go about doing that?
They can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube with some walking for inspiration videos
Oh,
that I do at Silvina Lanusse Art. So it's my first name, last name, and art at the end. So
perfect. I will add that to show notes so people have very easy access. And thank
thank
you
you.
again, Silvina, for taking the time to chat with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. I have to. And thank you for the opportunity. Love being on the podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.